welcome to another episode of Life in the Military Spouses Edition. Today is probably one that you're going to want to share with others. This might not be something super helpful as a military spouse for yourself, but maybe my hope is that our words today can be the words that you need to share with others, because we're talking spousal support or family support today. How can our families support us best? Ash, I know we've talked about the fact that there's been many a time where our family doesn't get to live down the block from us. I know most of our time frame, I was never in the state of Illinois unless I drove home for a vacation. And I know you haven't had the ability to be in the same state as your family, or at least not for long. So how do you look at family support when it's not convenient?
Oh, there's so many different things I could start off with, but if with what you're just saying about my family trying to support us when it's not convenient, right?
Yes.
I think the biggest thing that I've done or that I've learned over the years is keep communication open. It seems to be a theme, right? It seems to be a reoccurring theme with a lot of this military life. But my mom lives in Hawaii, my folks live in Hawaii, and obviously I can't just go drive to them.
Right.
And and so my thing is that I do is I talk to them every day. For one, I don't want to ever feel that I regretted anything, um, because they are getting older. So I take that time and I make that effort to just communicate with them every day, whether it's just a quick hello. Most of the time it's not, but it's like catch you up on the day, let you see the kids, let you see me, say I love you, that kind of thing. But um, on those other days where it's just like I just need my mom, like FaceTime and just all the video messaging, like that's been a huge blessing. Like I don't really like technology. I hate the fact that it just keeps getting weirder and weirder, but the fact that it can be used for good like that, like I get to see my mom
Yeah.
every day. And that makes being away that much easier for me.
Agreed. I think that was something that was huge for me also, was like I talked to my mom. Our time difference when we lived in Germany was quite convenient because she'd be getting up in the morning and getting ready in the morning, and I'd be making lunch. So we were both like doing something but able to talk, and it wasn't like interrupting schedules. But
Yes.
yes, I think that having that time to be able to communicate was huge. I know something my mom did, and I don't know, I don't like you said talking daily is easy, like that's free, it's easy. Our phones have this wonderful technology, and I love that. Something my mom would do, so when Chris was deployed, she'd send him care packages. So every other week he would get a care package from my mom, because then the in between week would be me. So he was always getting a care package. He'd get some sort of mail from me and the kids or my mom. And then when he came home, my mom would still send care packages. It could be like she went into the store that day and found a piece of candy. She found these cute this, like for the kids or me or whatever. And once a month, when he wasn't deployed, but when it was just us, she'd just send care packages. And it would
Stuff.
just it was like random. You'd like open the box and you're like, what is this, and
Right.
why am I getting this? But it would just be, you knew that like it didn't need a note, it didn't need explanation, but it was just the idea that she was like, I saw this and thought of you. And it
Yeah.
was super simple. I would always, like call her afterwards and be like, okay, so now you need to explain. But it was super fun to like, my kids loved it. They'd go to the mailbox all the time and like be super excited to get the mail. And call Grammy afterwards, and it was fun and it was exciting, and it still made us, even though we were so far apart. Even in Colorado, she would do it. And we couldn't see her as often, um, due to time differences weren't as conducive anymore, and just coming to see us was a lot harder. But she would still send us stuff, and it was fun to be like, I was still thought of. Like, you're still thinking of me, even
Mhm.
though I might not be right there.
I love that because we get like little care packages from home too. Like I say home being Hawaii. And my dad, like, so where they live now, he has a guava tree. He planted one. And so every summer he has boatloads of guava. Well, he's learned to make guava jam and guava syrup. And I wish he could just send me the fresh fruit, but that won't work. So we get in the boxes the end of the fall or beginning of fall in like guava jam, fresh from my dad.
Love it.
And it's fun, like you're saying, it's simple things, right? But when you open it, it's like it's a little piece of home, or
Mm-hmm.
because it's from family. Doesn't matter where family is. It's just like it makes you feel good. So I agree. Like, and there's always Hawaii has some different kind of snacks, and so there's always Hawaiian treats in there, and the kids love getting those. And um Eric always requests a certain thing, so whenever he sees those he grabs them, like he's like mine, like, and nobody touches them. And yeah, so I get what you're saying about the care packages. It is always fun to get those.
Yeah. And I'm like, and it's nothing, it was never anything crazy. It was never anything like my mom would, I was like, how do you get this all together? She's like, I will just literally like leave a box sitting next to like the counter. And she's like, and if I saw something, I'd purchase it, throw it in the box. And when the box was full, she's like, I'd send it to you.
That's cute.
And it was just like, I mean, in Chicago, there's not anything like cool like Hawaii has. I mean, you guys get the cool things. Um, we would just get the basics. Um, but it was the idea that like, my mom would send random things like coloring books or this or that for like the kids, and it would be, something for me. And it was always just fun. She always sent Chris a candy. When he was deployed or on field rotations and she knew the field rotation was coming up, she'd always ask him like, do you have any requests for things? He's like, yes, I have a list, would you like to see it? Like, and he would pull his things out and put them away and like take them. And so it was always fun because everybody's like in our building would always be like, so, because we did apartments in Germany, but even in Colorado, like all of our single friends would come over and they'd be like, so, any packages from home? I'm like, no, get out. Like mine, my mom. Like, it's my mom. Back up. Like, mine.
I love that. That's awesome.
And so, like, and my mom would get like even cards. Like, my aunt would send us cards because she works with third graders at a school, and she
Okay.
does reading with them in the third grade. And so she's talked to the teacher, and they actually did a writing project to us, and they wrote letters. And it was super fun just to be like, thought of, like these little third graders thought my husband was like the coolest guy out there, because they actually knew a soldier, and it was like this super cool thing. And we got letters and pictures and drawings, and it was like super cute. I don't think I've ever met these kids, but it was just a cool option to be a part of. And the year Chris was deployed, my aunt, I couldn't make it home. Or the year after he was deployed, I couldn't make it home. So what my aunt did was at Christmas Eve, she had everybody hold up a sign and it said Merry Christmas. And it was super fun. Like, she sent it to us, she thought about the whole thing. And it was just, sometimes it's the small things. It doesn't have to be a week at my house, even though I would love to have you there. It doesn't have to be the big vacations and the trips and the how often can I see you. But it can be as simple as, you know, like I said, my aunt doing the letters or the the care packages. My cousin was able to get Chris on the basketball court. He was a coach for basketball. And so he got them during the national anthem, got him like, I don't know, announced, and he got to come down.
Oh, cool.
Um, so I mean, there's ways to support that don't take big things, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, the honestly, the biggest thing is being intentional.
oh,
I think it for when I think about it, it's being intentional. Like when now, okay, me and my mom, we talk every day. So, I mean, intention versus maybe habit at this point might be a little much, or completely different. We just, I especially call her when I'm folding clothes because I hate folding clothes. And so she helps me. We just chat and she keeps me distracted while I just, you know, go and I just fold. So, is that intentional? Not really. It's just like, hey, I need your help. But but like when Eric was deployed or when we were in Germany, it was a little bit more intentional. My sister even, she doesn't send mail. Her and I are so much alike, but she sent me a care package when we were in Germany of all things Kentucky, which was really sweet. And it was, I mean, like when you go to hotels and you see all the little pamphlets and like books or whatever, and you can grab for free, like things to do in Kentucky or like all like in this region of Kentucky. She grabbed those for us, like here to read, to get excited about coming back. And I mean, simple. You would never thought that you would enjoy something like that. She got me a Kentucky shaped cookie cutter. I mean, all the things that you maybe I never would have thought of.
right.
But it was like the sweetest thing because it was intentional. She thought about it and was like, okay, what can I give or send that is gonna just like ease their homesickness? Because we were
Mhm.
homesick. And we love Kentucky, by the way. If we can find a job there, we would love to end up in Kentucky. So that's why the whole Kentucky thing came to be. So, but anyways, it's just the intention. When Eric would be deployed, he would message me. He's like, "Your mom sent me an email today," and just a quick little thing, saying, "Hey, I love you. I'm praying for you. I miss you. I hope you're doing okay." Like stuff like that. And it was intentional that um she was thinking about him. And so that those things are big things. Like even though like the action is small, the intention is so big to us in the military when we're gone from home.
Absolutely. When we don't get to be conveniently located.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like we might be within the continental US, but that doesn't mean that we don't get to be home for the birthday parties and the this party and then that thing. We don't get to just come over for Sunday night dinners, and our schedule doesn't allow that. It does require us to take leave if we can take it to come and see you, or you have to take time off of work to come and see us. Like we get that whole concept of trying to be in the same area is in almost impossible. Like we get that. But like you said, Eric was like just surprised and happy about an email. I remember many a times where Chris was like, I got an email, or I got he loved the letters from my mom, and he's like a total old school nerd. And like we used to do letters when he was in basic, and that was how we communicated because he couldn't have his phone back then. And I don't know if they do that anymore, if you're allowed your phone in basic anymore. I have no idea, but old school, they didn't let you have your phone, so we had to do letters back and forth. He's kept them. I thought they got lost in one of the moves, and I found out recently, like when we first moved back into in this area, he kept all of them at the back of our filing cabinet.
Oh, sweet.
And I was like, oh, like you kept them. Like it sounds so trivial, and it's like why would you care about a letter? Like, what does it matter? And it's like, it is truly the small things, because it is that like hug from home when we don't get to have that immediate hug.
Mhm.
Um, but what do you think about, because we've talked over intention, it doesn't have to be huge. Um, what do we think of the concept of like, now we say family support? And I look at that and I go, family is both blood and non-blood, because I have more family that I call an aunt and uncle to my kids than I do their actual aunts and uncles. Um, so what do you think as our adoptive family? Because I don't want to say that they're just military. They could be friends, they could be other people. How can they support us, military spouses and families, the best?
Um, so it, okay, so I'm gonna maybe talk about past experience of what it was like, and then maybe versus what can happen now. But in the past, it was all most of my adoptive family was Eric's team.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the wives that we were all going through the same thing anyways. And because it we had that common ground and or that common understanding of what life is like right now in this moment
Yes.
of being away from home, whether the guys were here and not deployed, but we're all away from home.
Right.
Or if the guys were gone, and so now we're away from home and our husbands are gone. So we were there for each other. We got together, we checked in on each other. We had little like group messaging going on. And then we would try meet somehow, at least once a month or a couple of times a month, just to be together, just to check in, everything like that. Um, and a lot of us at the time, our families were still growing. So a lot of us were pregnant or had little ones. So yeah, we would get the kids together or we would talk baby bumps together or whatever. And it was just something that kind of kept it kind of distracted us from not having our real family, because then we had something in common with these people in our life at that time that made us have a connection and
Right.
made family at the time.
Right.
And so definitely finding the people that um you had something in common with helped.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right now, we're in a completely different stage of life. We are actually intentionally trying to find people outside of that military lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to kind of mingle with the other 99% of population.
Yeah.
um, and so, you know, finding something that's common is a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's kind of weird to say, but you got to learn how to talk to people.
Yeah. Like have
And
normal conversations with people.
yes,
Yeah.
like and be interesting. Like that's so weird to say,
Yes.
but it's like sometimes
Overrated.
sometimes I'm like I have nothing to talk about. I don't know. I'm not interesting. I don't do anything. I've been a military wife. I've been a stay-at-home mom, like that has been me, but so I mean, it's been an interesting transition, but finding like those friends and those people that are just genuine,
Yes.
regardless if they have or not concern. What's the word? Regardless if they have a commonality or not, if they're
Mm-hmm.
just genuine,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, people can tell, right? You're
Right.
gonna you're gonna click with people or you're not. You're gonna be genuine with people or you're not, and you're gonna receive genuine people or you're not. And so you'll know. And And that's okay if you don't click or not. It's fine. Not everybody's gonna like me, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
And but yeah, just like finding those genuine people who honestly just want to spend time with you regardless, and then cultivating that from there.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we've landed.
Mm-hmm.
And and kind of creating, I wouldn't say it's like family, but they're definitely friends, and they're good friends. And it's
Yes.
growing into be family, which is promising.
It's fine.
So
A chewy bar.
In a minute. Um, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's something that is like it was funny because I was looking through my books behind me, and one of them is actually called Conversational Speaking. And it was literally a how-to on how to have like conversation with other people. And I'm like, is it like, and I was given this by my boss at one point in time because I was going for a promotion. And she's like, you need to learn this, like read over it and learn over this. And I was like, is it obvious that I don't have like normal conversation with people? Like, thanks for the small low blow. I'll take it. But it was like you kind of like forget how to have non-army conversations, like how to not have military conversations, and how everything doesn't revolve around work. Like most people don't actually want to talk about work. They don't care about it. You're like, oh, okay. Um, but to lead off of yours is something that I have learned with because we've had friends that we really had like just started friendships with them right before the military, and then we like kept those friendships. It was hard and it was only a few of them. Or I've had some that I like knew from high school that I just now am reconnecting with, is this idea of like love me through it.
mm,
And understand that, you know what, I'm going to probably suck as a friend at certain times. I'm going to be a little MIA, or I might become busy. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It doesn't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean that I am not like available. Don't not invite me. Please do invite me. Probably need you to like come and drag me out of the house. Um, but love me through it, because there were many times where, military friends or not, I had these people who like were just like, have you left your house today? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I have. I like, I no, I haven't left. I don't even know the last time I left. Or they look at you and they're like, we're going out. You're like, I don't, why? Where are we going? Okay. Like, you're just kind of like, sure. And you're like, but there's people who I'm like, I haven't talked to you in 3 weeks. Like, I'm so sorry that my schedule got busy and I had kids and like, you know what I mean? Like, all the things happened and I didn't pick up the phone. But continue to love me through it. Continue to like call me. I promise. I will call you back. Like I will do this too. Every once in a while I just need the refocusing. But as a as supportive friends, and like we've had them where they're like, you got a little MIA. I haven't heard from you in a few days. Can I get a proof of life? Like, I just need to know that you're still okay. And you're like, that's all I need. Like, I just need somebody every once in a while to be like, breathe and continue. Like, that's something that was super important in, I mean, even from my own family, but it means something different, I feel like, from your adoptive, I call them adoptive family, because
mm.
they're choosing to make that phone call. They're choosing to continue to care for you. They're choosing to continue to communicate with you. They don't have to. I mean, your blood family doesn't have to either. I've had plenty of people walk away while we were military, but these people are choosing the relationship with us. And I think that's pretty powerful.
I and the word offended comes to mind.
Uh-huh.
Like I agree with you, and just to kind of add to, like, don't don't be offended by our absence, because
Correct.
sometimes we don't even know we're being absent,
Correct.
and we just think we're just doing life, we're trying to survive. A lot of military wives or spouses, they're just in a mind state sometimes where they're just trying to survive. Either they're in transition in a new place, or they're getting focused on having to move, or they are in a new place and they don't know anybody. And so they get into this, like me, you get into like this funk, like you have to like kind of get yourself out of it. But while you're in it, like it's just pure survival mode. And you're just trying to figure out, like, get your house clean, feed the kids, and go to sleep and repeat the next day, that kind of thing. And it just takes some time. So try not to be offended by our absence. And I can say I was probably on the receiving end, like some relationships ended in that way because for one, I didn't know. And I didn't know how to communicate it because I didn't know what I was doing. And
Mhm.
um and so for that, if any of them are listening, I'm sorry. But it was just something that, I was just trying to get by. And a lot of it was during when Eric was just constantly go, 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 go. So my mind was in a different state. I was in a different place. So
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes you feel, I know I've had some that I feel disconnected because it's like I'm here in survival mode. I've got two kids. I barely can see straight. I don't know the last time I showered. Like you're going through the litany of all the things of just getting through the moment, survival and continuing onward. But at the same time you're like, we haven't talked in a while, and as with military friends, you kind of go, okay, no big deal. You pick up and you keep conversation, like you just keep moving, because you don't have to. Sometimes you don't feel like you have to talk every single day to make it function and like to have that relationship. Whereas sometimes our civilian friends, like you said, almost get offended or they retreat, and you're like, now I feel like I've lost that connection to you. Do I even have that conversation? Like, how do I call? Like, like we start to second guess because I'm like, I feel like I lose that connection?
yes,
Is it
yeah,
even still there anymore? Like, do they completely hate me because I didn't do it? And all the thing you can say is like, I'm sorry. And my hope is that a lot of others will understand that, like, we don't mean to be that way. We truly don't. Like, even to our own actual biological parents and family, like, we don't mean to ghost you. We don't mean to, like, go off the grid on you. It's just sometimes we can't handle it all at once.
yeah, yeah. Another thought that came to mind is what did I do wrong? Because
Yeah.
you don't even know. And then it's like, shoot, what did I do? But yet here they are and they're retreating. And it's like, okay, well, is it worth it? I'm, 2.5 years in and I'm gonna be going pretty soon. So do I want to take the time or not? So I'm anyway, yeah, it's a tough situation. It's sad
Mm-hmm.
because I think it makes a lot of us military spouses seem a little standoffish
Mm-hmm.
when really we're not. We just don't know, either we don't know how to communicate it or we don't want to take the time to communicate it.
Yeah. Agreed. I feel like we feel like nobody understands us. So
Yeah.
we sit in the corner. Like you're just like,
And
I don't know.
stick to our own.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I keep thinking of, okay, so I'm not a PTA mom by any means, but I do the like holiday parties in one of my kids' classes, and each time there's a new set of volunteers like that kind of comes in and whatever. And so it's one of those like, I stand there and you all come in at the same time and then we disperse to the classrooms. And it's interesting because I sit there and I kind of really do keep to myself. There's the occasional like one or two people that I know from like outside of a school atmosphere. Like I know their families because of family connections, or I've created a relationship with so and so that my kids see each other outside of the school, kind of a thing. But you see all these like cliques. And I start to sit there and I'm like, I don't fit in here. Like, I just don't.
Mm.
Whereas I don't know if that was felt as much in the military schools, like the schools that were on base, I don't know if that was felt as much because none of us fit in. Like none, we didn't have a click because there wasn't a click because nobody had time to click. Like we all just kind of showed up, said hi, what's your kid, and like let's just keep moving. Like I feel like it was different. And so as someone trying to support or show love or care for a military family, understand like the sorry, muffles, earmuffs for little people, but resting bitch face isn't always a thing. Like we don't mean to portray that to you. We don't mean to stand off. We don't mean to come off cold or maybe a little abrasive. We really don't know how to like click. We like clicking is hard sometimes.
We don't know
And
how to mingle. We don't know. We don't
yeah,
know how to mingle.
we're not great at the mingle thing. Small conversation, like small talk, not like just not my forte, not my thing. But also is just like I guess I still hold that like slightly cold heart of like how long will you be here?
Yes, and that's what I was going to say. It's like there has to be some understanding. Well, no, there doesn't has to be. I would like there to be an understanding be, from those that like we are us in the military, we are constantly in shift. We're constantly being moved. It's constantly the next thing. And you're always forward planning. There's always something to be done. There and it's not just like us at the home that has this idea and this mindset, but we take on this mindset because our husbands have this mindset and the military is constantly go, 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 go. And then they bring that home. And so we kind of adapt into that
Mhm.
kind of lifestyle. And you know, we're there's always gonna like I know we're retiring right now, but it's like what like I'm almost like it's gonna like no, they're gonna call him back and we're gonna have to go and there's gonna be another move somewhere and it's just like in my mind like that's constantly in my mind or not even we're gonna have to move somewhere or they're gonna stop his retirement paperwork and then they're gonna send him overseas and we're gonna be in another deployment and so our minds and our lifestyle is constantly in this shift and this what if and this rotation of all the different things that the military brings, whether it's moving or deployments or promotions or whatever. And and so I would like there to be understanding that because we're constantly in those spaces of life that we kind of put friends or um, daily communication or weekly get-togethers like on the back burner.
Yes, that's
They
what I was
have,
gonna say.
they have to be, at least on my part, they had to be initiated to me.
Yes, I was
I didn't,
totally gonna say this.
okay, so I didn't have the bandwidth, I didn't have the mental capacity to like
Yeah,
think about I like let's get together. You know, it was always somebody else. I wouldn't say it was always. Maybe every once in a very great while, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen so and so
right.
or the girls for a while. But for the most part, it was like it was either like somebody else,
Mhm.
especially on the civilian side, because on the flip side of this, okay, on the civilian side, I feel like I am now intruding. They have all of their friends, they have been together for years, and now here comes a newcomer. I don't
Mhm.
have any of that, and I feel like I'm an intruder. And so I stand off and I don't want to push in because they already have their friends. They're good. And that's kind of my thought process. And so, especially on the civilian side of friends, I I kind of wait for them to make the initiation. I don't want to intrude in their little bubble. I'm outside that bubble.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we learned that as military spouses, we have learned, and even I would even say the guys, because I've had this conversation with Chris before, where we have realized that everybody else had a life without us. Like our friends from high school, our friends from college, all these other people had lives that didn't include us. Like we're not offended by that, but it's just a stark reality that like I wasn't conveniently located. And because of the inconvenience, sometimes the communication didn't happen all the way or all the time. And so our connection kind of fell off because I was worried in more survival mode. And we've learned that everything you just said was epic because that was so true. It was all of it that I feel like the intruder, but yet I feel out of place. Like I want that, but I don't want it. If it's not initiated to me, I'm not coming forward because I'm already like awkwardly in this situation. Like, and to those who have stuck through it with us, I can't say anything other than thank you. Like, thank you. I love you. It's much appreciated because, like I said, we had a couple of friends who have stuck around from the beginning and now look at my children as their own. And we've been through like any of it. They don't get offended if we don't call right away. They're the first ones to be like, hey, haven't heard from you. But now if I don't hear from them and I have like half a second in a brain cell extra, I turn around, I'm like, hey, by the way, just wanted you to know I was thinking of you. Like just the random. And I mean, I just can't thank those who support us enough because you're the strength that we take. We take the strength you give us, and it sounds so minuscule of like it's just a text message. What does that do? It's like, no, that's literally the next breath I needed. Like you have no idea what a text message can do, a care package can do, a hug for that matter. I mean, if you're in the area, give me a hug. I promise. I might look at you a little funny, but that's okay. Um, it just means so much because it's like it literally doesn't have to be trips. It doesn't have to be all the time. It's the random. It's the continued love you, how are you? Thinking of you, saw this and thought of you. That kind of a thing that means more to us and is a bigger support to us than anything. And that can go for any biologically our parents and our family and our siblings and all of that to even just the adoptive family that we have. Like you communicating with us and you loving us through it all is just essential.
And yes, and you said something about like taking the time to send a text. That I want to set it straight here also, like, because yes, it's nice when they do that for us because we're not always capable, but for us military spouses, we are not off the hook, guys. Like,
Right.
this is what I've learned over the course of time as well. It's like I as a military spouse learning that I'm not always there. I need to be intentional with my relationships as well.
Yes.
And sometimes, like, even if it is just a text, like, hey guys, like, how's it going? Exactly like Stephanie's saying, thinking about you. You came on, you popped into my mind today. How are you?
Mm-hmm.
Um, whether it's civilian or military, but especially to like those who are in the civilian realm. So like your family and your friends back home. Um, like that means, well, I don't know what it means to them. I never heard about their reaction to it other than their response, like, hey, I'm doing good. But I'm going to assume if I have that reaction, like, oh, cool, like they're thinking of me, then they're going to have that reaction as well. And just because I was always constantly in that state of mind or in a place where I'm just in survival mode, I still had to reel myself in
Mhm.
enough to send out a quick something
Yeah.
as well. I had to make that effort as well. I couldn't just expect it from everybody else.
Yes. I think I didn't learn that until more recently, until we were out and I was trying to create friends again, like outside of the military, like civilian friends and relationships, that I learned that, because I had gotten so stuck in the other way where I was just like, I'm in such survival mode, that once I didn't have to be in survival mode, I didn't know, like, that wasn't a thing. It was still back burner, needed to need me like towards front a little. But I agree, yes, as I think military personnel in general and their spouses, we're not off the hook. I know I've told Chris this before, where I was like, he's like, nobody calls me. I'm like, the phone goes both ways.
Right.
Did you text any of them? I mean, I know there's plenty of people who are like, hey, over this way today, you want to come with? And you choose to not go. Doesn't mean you're not going to get an invite, but maybe you should send them a text. Just saying, like, you know what I mean? And so I think I agree with you that we're not off the hook. So if you are one of those like ride or die friends, the lifers who've been through it all with us, do not be afraid to call us out, because I know there have been many a time where I needed my friends to call me out on it and be like, just so you can do it kindly, but be be lovingly when you tell me that I am sucking as a friend. But do it in a loving and understanding way, that like, yes, we were in survival mode, but we're trying, like we are trying. But I do have to say to those ride or dies and those really deep friends, like, thanks for being patient, and thanks for
Yes.
calling me out, because if somebody's calling you out, they're probably doing it out of love, especially if they've been through the time of it all with you. It's out of love. They just want you to be around. They miss you. But I hope that this is helpful. I hope this is a way to be successful. Like we had said, January is the month of success and goals. We want that for them. And I know when we were talking over like this topic and putting it into this month, it kind of seemed a little off and out of the ordinary and not in conjunction with the other things. But I think that having that support externally is super essential to our success as military spouses, because if we can feel the support and love when we are feeling a little low or in survival mode or any of that, like if this can help our support system be able to support us better and us to support them better, we can all have success. Then it will be successful friendships. It will be easier transitions. It will just be a better situation all around. So I know this topic seems a little out of the ordinary, but we are hoping that this can be that episode that maybe you take some tidbits away. Maybe you can listen and be like, am I being that friend who's a little absent-minded? Need to send that text today. Or this can be that helpful moment for our support systems to understand, like, we are not trying to be offensive. We're not trying to walk away from you. We only have 10 spots for the day, and I'm sorry, but you're 11. Like, we don't mean it. But that you can understand and love us through it. But if we can all come together in a loving and understanding way, we can all have success. And so I hope that this is helpful to somebody somewhere. But next week, we're talking more specifically on the success planning and self-maintenance and how to make sure that we are successful in all the things that we do. So be on the lookout for that episode. It's going to be a really awesome one for both of us. And we will catch you guys next week and we'll talk then. Bye, guys.